Hi, I'm Cynthia Pong, Forbes contributor for leadership strategy and founder and CEO of award-winning executive coaching and training firm Embrace Change. Welcome to our video series for executive and senior leaders, the future of leadership. In this video series, we explore the evolving landscape of executive leadership in a volatile world, strategies for navigating complex challenges and driving organizational success, and practical strategies to help you lead with confidence and impact. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you know when I drop future videos in the series. Today's topic is Lead Lean, executive strategies for maximizing impact with minimal resources. I don't know if this feels like something you've ever dealt with, but I feel like executive leaders today face unprecedented pressure to deliver results with fewer and fewer resources. So whether it's budget cuts, staff shortages, increased competition in the market, or AI, the challenge of doing more with less is a constant reality now, and we have to contend with it. Every week, I hear from current or past clients about how they're facing more budgetary restrictions, whether it's austerity measures or very real and legitimate cost-cutting needs, which means exec and senior leaders like you have to figure out how to move forward anyway, how to make these extremely difficult decisions about where to allocate your already very lean budget and human and financial resources, because the work still has to get done. This topic is especially relevant now because of all the ongoing economic uncertainty and the rapid tech advances that we are all seeing. Leaders have to adapt continually and find innovative ways to optimize your operations and maintain productivity and engagement. And if you didn't see it, the first video in the series was on employee engagement, so make sure to watch that one in its entirety. It's got a lot of juicy strategies that you can implement on a very important topic. But anyway, let's talk about how you can lead lean, even with all of these really challenging parameters that are out of our individual control. So now it's time for the leadership reality check, where I keep it real and break this topic down for you. Here's the problem. It really boils down to three factors. One, the efficiency illusion. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but a lot of times leaders focus on surface level efficiency gains, kind of band-aid approaches that can squeeze more productivity and efficiency for us without addressing underlying systemic issues, which are, of course, the real problem. So we just focus on, what can get us more done this month, this quarter, what can move this timeline faster right now with less resources. And then it's very tempting to just jump on the latest bandwagon, band-aid solution that we can get in place fast. I get it. It's tempting. It's relatable. The problem is this leads to burnout. It leads to drops in quality of work from your employees. And ultimately, you will be no closer to doing more with less, unless we were talking about doing more damage. And I know in the past, I have personally seen how companies and organizations, for example, glom on to the latest HR software or system or the latest shiny new object. They'll get it into place as fast as they can without enough training or support or messaging to staff, which means people don't know how to use it. They don't want to use it because there was no buy-in. And you've just wasted all of that money buying the thing, ramping it up just for your staff to be frustrated. Not good. All right. Number two factor in how this problem shakes out, the innovation bottleneck. When resources are scarce, leaders more often become more risk averse, and that can really stifle innovation, which means stagnation, missed opportunities for growth, and increased risk of losing market share to competitors who are taking more of those calculated risks. Also not good. And number three, underinvesting in talent. This one I see all the time, all the time, because it's really tempting to cut back on things like training, coaching, L&D, wellness support at these times. But these are the times when those things are needed the most by your most precious resource, which is the people in your company. So sure, cutting those things can save money in the short term, but it can be extremely detrimental in the long run. And some of those are irreversible kinds of damage. Your workforce is going to burn out that much faster. They won't be properly skilled up or reskilled to keep up with tech advances. And the more that folks get pushed without the proper support and backing and resourcing, the worse it's going to be for your company and its bottom line. Like I have said before on the future of leadership, people just want to know that they're seen, that they're heard, that they matter to something bigger than themselves. And cutting their supports when the going gets tough only communicates to them very strongly and clearly that you do not value them as employees. And while that may be fine in the interim, there's going to be major costs to that over the mid and the long term. Which brings us to what is at stake. One, the finances. If you're not managing your resources well, it's going to mean financial losses, missed revenue targets, decreased value for shareholders, all of those things, if you don't know how to do more with less and you mismanage your resources. 2, morale. Overworked and undersupported employees become increasingly disengaged and disgruntled, leading to higher turnover rates, majorly decreased productivity, and people who may stick around in your company, but they're really dragging it down because they are not engaged or productive. It's really the opposite result of what you're trying to do here. And 3, the competition. Companies that don't adapt to resource constraints well, they're going to fall behind their competitors when it comes to innovating, when it comes to having more market share, when it comes to profitability. Full stop. And you're never going to be able to do more with less if we let those things happen. So that's your leadership reality check. Now, before I get to the solutions, be sure to sign up for my weekly newsletter, The Trajectory, where I share tons of actionable career advice just like this. The link is in the description. And if you want occasional additional emails with tailored strategies for those on the path to the C-suite, be sure to sign up at the link for C-suite insiders. All right, let's talk solutions. How do we get you to lead lean and maximize impact with minimal resources? Let's talk about my 3 pillars for lean leadership. You know I love a triple. Number 1, strategic prioritization. Be sure you are combining both the 80-20 rule and the Eisenhower Matrix for your executive level decision-making and how you are allocating your most precious resource, your time and energy. So identify the 20% of your activities that are yielding 80% of the results that you want, and then run that 20% through the Eisenhower Matrix to make sure you're prioritizing your time properly. Of course, identify and eliminate any low-value tasks and projects from the not urgent, not important quadrant that might have slipped through your 80-20 analysis, and be sure you are focused mainly on the important and urgent, of course, and the important not urgent quadrants, especially that second one, because that one's easier to ignore over the short term, which leads to long-term problems. As an exec or senior leader, you need more and more time simply to think, process, strategize, and figure out how to move forward in the most effective way possible. The margins for error are getting razor thin. And the key to that always lies in Q2 of the Eisenhower Matrix, important, not urgent, not the putting out of fires every day. Although I know that's tempting, and I know some of that is needed. Now, after you do this once, like the first take at the 80-20 and Eisenhower Matrix, make sure you are regularly reassessing your priorities and stay willing to make tough choices. I mean, let's face it, that is a lot of leadership at your level. Make those tough choices about where to allocate your most precious resources. And if you or your staff need more guidance on this, make sure to check out my book, Don't Stay in Your Lane, The Career Change Guide for Women of Color. It has strategies and tactics that anyone of any background can apply in order to operationalize the Eisenhower Matrix and tons of other things beyond the time management tactics. Okay, that's the number 1 pillar of lean leadership, strategic prioritization. Number 2, the second pillar here is empower autonomous teams. I know that as a senior level leader, we all want autonomous teams. We all want teams that can make their own decisions and move the work forward on their own without a lot of blowing back up the chain of command. We want them to just be able to take something and run, right? That means your senior leaders need to know how to make sure your middle managers and your frontline staff know how to actually do this. Whatever work is not automatable. We need to make sure that the folks who are in those positions know what to do, when to do it, why they are doing it, so that they know how to do it right. Otherwise, there will be issues. Another common pitfall here when it comes to empowered autonomous teams is stifling cross-functional collaboration and siloing knowledge in different departments or different verticals. So make sure there are structures in your company or organization so that there can be communication and knowledge sharing efficiently across different departments or verticals, which means you got to invest in the training and development so that your employees build the skills and capabilities when it actually comes to clear communication, strategic problem solving, and effective time and stress management. Because if they can do all of those things, then you are going to be that much closer to empowered autonomous teams. One of my past clients, the CEO of a mid-market tech company, was really struggling to see the autonomous teams that she was hoping for within her company. And it really seemed hopeless because it was like, she'd already tried hacking the problem 10,000 different ways. She wasn't the CEO for no reason. Over time, through working through the executive coaching to hone her leadership approach, to hone her leadership vision, we were able to get her to coach up her middle managers who could then support their direct reports to actually do the work autonomously because they had been empowered with the knowledge and the ability and the skill to make those decisions and move the work forward week to week without bottlenecking everything back up the chain of command because they didn't know what to do or they were too afraid to ask or things like that. So that's the second pillar of lean leadership, which is key to helping you do more with less. What is the third pillar? This one I love to talk about and share about because the third pillar is leveraging introverted leadership strategies. I know, might feel a little bit different, but this is a real get the bang for your buck strategy that I've written about in my Forbes contributor column. So if you want a deeper dive on this, click over to there and make sure to follow on Forbes so that you never miss any of my future insights on leadership strategy. Okay, so here's the real deal. Engaged teams are 28% more productive when they are led by introverted leaders versus when they are led by extroverted leaders. 28%, not too shabby, right? So regardless of whether you're an introvert or extrovert, you can actually still get to those kinds of results if you adopt strategies that introverted leaders use to maximize impact with minimal resources. There's a number of things that are entailed there. Again, click over to the article if you want to see them all, but what I will highlight here is this one strategy. Focus on deep work and thoughtful decision-making rather than constant action. And as a leader at your level, you already know, do less so that you can lead more. Doing so for yourself will encourage more reflection and strategic thinking among your executive leadership team and everybody else around you who's observing you as well. I've spoken about this before on the future of leadership, of how all of this stuff starts with you. You are always modeling and signaling to others. So if you do this for yourself, you are sending the message and you're more likely to be able to instill similar work and leadership habits in others, which is, again, how you do more with less. So what are your next steps? Because I know I just gave you a ton of material. I'm going to break this down into just 3 simple next steps that you can absolutely do no matter what today, this week, or this month. And they, of course, align with the 3 pillars of lean leadership that we talked about today. So number 1, block time to do your 80-20 analysis and run that 20% through the Eisenhower Matrix. So again, identify the 20% of your activities that are driving 80% of the results that you want, and then figure out where those 20% activities fall within the important, urgent Eisenhower Matrix. Focus your most valuable time and resources on Q2, important, not urgent, as well as Q1, important, urgent. Number 2 aligns with that second pillar, empower autonomous teams. If you feel like your teams are not as autonomous as they could be, what is one thing, just one thing that would make them incrementally more autonomous? Like if you rank them at a 5 right now, what would bring them to a 5.1, a 5.2? What's your best guess if you're not really sure? Is it training? Is it something you can communicate more clearly? Is it a micro culture shift around cross-functional collaboration? What is your best guess? How can you identify that one thing? And then the rest will follow. Finally, leverage introverted leadership strategies. And I'm going to do you a solid here because I know you're extremely busy and you have too much on your plate. That's why we're talking about do more with less. This step is actually going to double up with number 1, which is to block 2 hours of deep work time into your calendar each day. Yes, you heard me. If you're not already doing this, just try it out. And I don't care if most of those blocks get eaten into by this, that, and the third. It's okay. Over time, it will force you to have to think about it. And at some point, you are going to start building that habit to take the deep work time. And again, you can have your first block of time be about that tip number 1, your 80-20 analysis and your Eisenhower Matrix, right? So that's how this is doing double duty for you. And as you do this, see if you can encourage explicitly or implicitly your senior leaders and middle managers to also block time in their calendar. Probably not 2 hours a day like you, but at least 2 hours a week or some similar sort of reflection on a regular basis. These are the things that are going to allow you to do more with less as an executive or senior leader. So that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. And if you found this helpful, Embrace Change is a woman of color founded, run, and operated micro business, and we are grateful for your support. Like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend, and I'll see you next time on The Future of Leadership.